Today, the title of today's class demonstration is Iron Yoga. Iron Yoga. It's a new form of yoga that I've created. There's a whole long tradition to yoga. We're going to talk about how we're updating it for these times where we're combining it with weightlifting. So if you look at let's talk a little bit about the history of yoga, and then I'm going to talk about how I've taken the license to adapt it for now for the West. Now yoga, if you go back thousands of years in India, even before the time of Krishna, who was the founder of Hinduism, there were different forms of yoga. And then he integrated the three main forms into Raja Yoga. But I'm going to tell you what the existing yogas were. One was Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga, which has to do with love and devotion. There was Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga, which had to do with meditative knowledge. And you had Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga, which had to do with detached work. Detached work. The idea that as whatever you did, you were not attached to the results. You did what you did, and you gave it your all, and then what happens, happens. You weren't attached to a certain positive or negative. You just did what you could do. And so that would be detached yoga. Meditative knowledge would be where you're meditating, typically on a sound or in a light or a mantra, or you're breathing, and you would achieve certain insights and understandings in your knowledge. So that would be meditative knowledge. And Bhakti Yoga is love and devotion, typically to a spiritual teacher such as Krishna or to some guru. So, or it could be devotion also to your family. So it's a path of love and devotion. And then the Raja Yoga is where he integrated the other three into one. It was very unific when Krishna did that at that time. Otherwise, there's a possibility where it turned into different religions around the different yogis. So someone who practiced yoga is called a yogi. Now, you'll see how I'm going to bring this up. This goes back thousands of years. And it was suited for those times, these practices. Now, a key in there, in doing, when you go into the physical form that we're used to, they're called asanas. Now, the asanas are positions you'll get into. You see me do a cobra after a cobra position. There are different positions you get into. And the idea is that each position, each asana, is considered a prayer. So a lot of times you go to yoga studios, many times don't even get into the spiritual things. People do it in America, particularly for the physical benefits. They have the hot yoga that they have these days where you get really hot, you're stretching, you have power yoga. You have different kinds of yoga, devoid of the original spiritual beginnings. But yoga itself means yoked to God. Yoked to God, or union with God. Yoked to God. So it's a very spiritual practice. And typically it involved breathing. It involves breathing methods. Breathing, where you're taking deep breaths, and particularly diaphragmatic breathing. And then it has to do with mindfulness, where you're paying attention to what you're experiencing in the moment. Mindfulness. And typically you'll see stretching. Everyone's seen yoga practice, but you'll see the stretching, the breathing, some kind of mindfulness is there. And when a person's in a pose, they usually hold it for some period of time, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, some period of time.